Today, my Algebra 2 students, we're going to talk about Lesson 1-3, Function Notations. The big idea, a function f may be written as a set of ordered pairs, x comma f of x, described in f of x notation by any equation y equals f of x, or defined by the mapping f such that x maps onto y. Now, I just want you to get familiar with this. Yes, you're looking at it right. X comma f of x is the same thing as saying x comma y. It's the same thing, okay? I don't want you, f of x and y are the same thing. So it's just a different way to write what we already been looking at. For instance, something like this, y equals 2x plus 3 is the same thing as saying f of x equals 2x plus 3. In function notation, we just give it a name, function f or function h or whatever. So don't let this fool you. Consider three equations. Y equals 90 minus x, y equals 1.8x plus 32, and y equals the square root of 25 minus x squared. The first equation relates to degree measures x and y of the two acute angles in a right triangle. We kind of looked at that yesterday. The second equation converts the temperature x in degrees Celsius into a temperature y in degrees Fahrenheit. The third equation gives the length y of the one leg of a right triangle with another leg of the length x and the hypotenuse of the length 5. Each formula is easy to use, but when they are all together on the page, all the x's and y's can be confusing. Yes, they can. So, to avoid the confusion, you can use f of x notation. If a names the angle function, t names the temperature conversion function, and L names the formula for leg length, you can write a of x is equal to 90 minus x. So now you know that's the angle function. T of x equals 1.8x plus 32, which is now the temperature function. And L of x equals the square root of 25 minus x squared, which is the length of the side that you are looking for. Now each function can simply be referred to by its name, A, T, or L. So this is just a way that you can separate out functions and know what they are and keep them separated from each other. F of x notation, the symbol f parentheses x is read f of x, as you've heard me say 5 times now. It does not mean f times x. This notation is attributed to Euler, an extraordinary Swiss mathematician. In 1770, Euler wrote what is considered the most influential algebra book of all time. Okay? We also call this Euler's notation because he derived it. It says you can combine f of x notation with a descriptive name for the independent variable. You can replace x with c for degrees Celsius. So we could call this T of c, meaning this is our temperature equation, but c is the value of Celsius temperature that you're going to put into that function. So we just named this other variable here. Okay? The letter c is an independent variable. That's our x variable. Okay? Independent variable, x variable. Or our input, as we talked about the other day. T of c names the dependent variable or output. T is the name of the function which multiplies the input c by 1.8 and adds 32. Our dependent variable is dependent on whatever c is. The same variable, number, or expression is placed in the parentheses, wherever the parentheses appears. What is written in the parentheses is called the argument of the function. So our independent variable is called the argument. The result is called the value. Okay? So this argument is our input, value is our output. You need to remember those two things. Argument equals input value, and the value function equals output. So example 1 says, if T of C equals 1.8C plus 32, evaluate T of 20. So T of 20 stands for wherever I see C, I'm putting in 20. Wherever I see C, I'm putting in 20. So equals 1.8 times 20 plus 32. Follow your order of operations. I got to take 1.8 times 20 first. Gives me 36 plus 32 gives me 68 degrees. Okay? So, if it is 20 degrees Celsius, it is actually 68 degrees Fahrenheit, which we'd love it to stay that way in Rockford all the time. I think 68 degrees is a perfect temperature. Mapping notation for functions. Yes, you need to understand what mapping notation looks like. Is it used all the time? Not always, okay? But your book is going to use it on your test or quiz, so you need to get familiar with this mapping notation. In the activity, the function f is described by f of x equals the square root of 5 squared minus x squared. Another notation called mapping notation is sometimes used for functions. Mapping notation uses a colon and an arrow. The function from the activity would be written in the mapping notation as follows. F colon x, so instead of parentheses, they use the colon. Instead of an equal sign, they use a arrow. Okay? This is read, the function f maps, the function f maps is the arrow, x onto the square root of 5 squared minus x squared. For f of 4 equals 3, in mapping notation we write f of x, the function f, maps 4 onto 3. Okay, the arrow stands for onto. Okay? The function f maps 4 onto 3. So 4 would be our argument. 3 would be our value. Four would be our input. 3 would be our output. So let's look at example 2. Let the function of f of x maps onto the square root of 5 squared minus x squared. Evaluate f of 3 and f of r minus f of 3. Okay? So let's do f of 3 first. F of 3 just means wherever I see an x, I'm putting in 3. So 5 squared is 25, right? We all know that. Minus 3 squared. Sorry, I should have put a parenthesis here. Well, 25 minus 3 squared is, 3 squared is 9, so 25 minus 9 is 16. Don't forget your square root. What's the square root of 16? Square root of 16 is 4. Okay? We want to find f of r minus f of 3. Well, we already know our f of 3, right? Let's find our f of r. This just means wherever I see an r, or wherever I see an X, I'm putting in the letter R. So this is going to equal the square root of 25 minus R squared. Okay? To find f of R, we can't do nothing with this because we don't know the value for R. To find f of R minus f of 3, all I simply do is take f of R, which is this right here, the square root of 25 minus R squared, and I'm going to subtract f of 3. F of 3, as we found out, was 4. And there is my answer. Now remember, you can't go any further because we don't know what R is. So don't try to do anything else. Just leave it just like that. Thank you very much. We'll see you all tomorrow.